And then you're like kept
as like a slave, as like a fucking like egg laying fucking
oh my God.
slave.
Oh, it's awful. This is Handmaid's Tale. Hi, and welcome to the SaVeg podcast.
I'm Rose, also known as Cheap Lazy Vegan on YouTube.
And I'm Daniel, one of your favorite guest stars on Cheap Lazy Vegan's YouTube channel.
We're two friends who love to talk about the latest trending topics.
So get comfortable and join us while we give our SaVeg take on just about everything.
You are currently listening to the previous episode of this podcast, but if you would like to listen to this week's episode and get some exclusive content, go over to patreon.com/thesavagepodcast.
Hello, everybody.
Oh, hang on.
Someone isn't ready yet, as
We're
usual.
gonna restart this. Just give me a second. I feel like these mics are not made for tall people.
They're just not. I think you need to pull it back a little bit.
It's like falling into my mouth. Gosh, it's the most action I've had in a while.
Oh my God. Hello.
Hello, everyone.
Welcome back to the SaVeg podcast. We are back. We have a lot of news to cover today.
Mostly on one person. But,
Mostly on one individual that we do not want to talk about, but unfortunately we have to.
And unfortunately, he's sending shockwaves through the entire world.
Oh, goddamn.
And is, dipping his gross orange fingers everywhere. Fuck.
Anyways, we are back, you guys. Welcome back to another episode. If you haven't yet, join our YouTube memberships or our Patreon.
Yep.
Yes. Click the join button on YouTube or click below for our Patreon for bonus content, ad-free content, and every episode a week earlier than everybody else.
All that good stuff.
Yee. All right, everyone. So we're just going to jump right into... Well, should we, or do we have any updates?
I'm trying to think if we have any updates. Well, okay. This isn't an update, guys, but we will eventually, but maybe in the next episode, we'll talk about the recent O.J. Simpson documentary.
Oh, yes. I need to talk about this.
Yeah.
Even though, I don't know. Do you guys want to hear about this?
Well, it's regardless if they want to or not, we're going to talk about it.
Oh, are we?
I'm
Okay.
just kidding, guys.
Well, I was hoping to talk about it today, but someone didn't do their homework. Well, okay. The thing is, I don't know how much you guys know about the O.J. Simpson, the whole situation.
Mm-hmm.
I knew about it a bit. I always thought he was guilty.
Yeah.
Although he was found not guilty, spoiler, which everybody kind of knows.
Everyone knows that, though. That's not
exactly
a big spoiler.
But yeah. Okay, you know what? We'll save it for...
We're going to save it for
next week. We'll discuss it next week.
Yeah.
But if you guys want to, you can watch it on Netflix. I think it's like... I don't know. It's like the O.J. Simpson, the new O.J. Simpson documentary series. I think it's like 4 episodes.
Okay.
But yeah, it's fascinating. It's a huge... It brings up so many problems.
Right.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're gonna be talking about that. Another thing too, guys. This is more forward thinking for this year. But as we're both well aware and super excited that I think it's on Valentine's Day actually, the new season, guys.
I was like, where are you going with this?
The new season of Love is Blind is out. And as you know, guys, it has been a staple in this podcast.
It's been a tradition.
Ever since COVID. Because that's when Love is Blind first came out.
Yes.
And we were locked up. That was the era of Love is Blind, Tiger King.
Oh, God.
All these like great... I think Making a Murder came out at that
Great
time too.
is a bit of... No, Making a Murder was... we watched it when we were in London.
Oh, did we?
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Maybe
okay.
Making a Murder 2 came out. I don't know.
Right, okay.
But Making a Murder is like way older.
It's older. Okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, Love is Blind season 9, I think it is.
Probably.
So we're going to be watching that over the course of the next,
however
long. So,
And then apparently I've heard some feedback about our Love is Blind episodes.
Oh.
People think we need to watch the reunion first and then do the thing.
Oh, okay.
So like the entirety, we need to watch a reunion and then we
Right.
need to do a full on recap.
Okay, so that's probably not going to be happening for months because typically they like release like 4 episodes and then it's like a month later or like
Is it a month though? Do they make us wait that long?
maybe it's like 2 weeks.
Yeah, I don't think it's a month.
Yeah.
It probably feels like a month because we
does.
live in like the world where we're constantly, you can watch the next episode right away.
Exactly, which is this world that we're in of this instantaneous
I know
stuff,
it's a problem.
It's actually, and I know we've talked about this a million times in the podcast, but it is so bad. And I'm noticing like I've never felt like I've had problems concentrating on things.
Oh yeah, we all have ADHD now.
I'm like really like, and it's a real problem because like
what can't you concentrate on, Daniel?
just in general, I feel like I'm always like all over the place. I'm like,
well, I mean, we both have been all over the place for some time. I don't know if we can blame the universe.
no, but I just mean like simple things. Like I used to be able to just like sit down and like get shit done, or like more easily do stuff. And now I have to like it almost takes like mental effort to like even just like watching TV shows now. I'm always having my phone with me and like all this stuff.
It is a problem.
Yeah, I'm trying to take like a mental break. So I've been like doing like days where I'm like using my phone less, all that sort of thing. So I'm gonna try to incorporate that into my life.
Yeah, that's a good plan, Daniel.
I'm actually getting concerned.
God damn. Well, there's other things you could do, like maybe like reading might help, meditation. Yep. Just like things where you kind of have to be focused on something.
Self-care.
Yes.
I did a mask last night and I did some foam rolling.
God damn.
You know? Yeah.
That's why you wasn't responding to my messages.
And I'm also taking mental breaks from my phone, Rose. That's why.
Is it from the phone or from my messages?
Well, one person in particular. No, in general.
That'd be mean as hell.
In general, okay.
God damn.
But yeah, so those are the updates, guys.
Oh, those are the updates.
Oh, do we have any spots left still at the Rocky Mountain trip?
Yes, there are 5 spots left for the Canadian Rockies trip. If you guys want to come with us on a Canadian Rockies hiking and camping trip, that's happening in August. Oh, and just a random plug, I'm actually doing a Mexico City trip, which I'm hosting in May. And if Daniel ever watched my Instagram, you would know about this.
I know about your Mexico trip.
Oh, okay.
It's the La Ciudad de Mexico, right?
Yes. So Mexico City, I'm hosting a vegan trip with my assistant D, and we're going to be doing this in May, which is coming up. So if you guys want to sign up for that, right now there's some early bird spots left where you save $100. So check out the info below. Yes. So yeah, those are the trips. Those are the plugins. Yep. Let's now discuss how the world's coming to an end.
Oh my God, guys. It's actually...
I know.
I'm stressed.
Well, should we talk about tariffs first?
Yes. Let's talk about the tariffs. Okay. Let's talk about the shit show that was the tariffs because it happened did it not just happen this weekend?
Well, no.
Oh, no.
Because it was the whole... We're going to do a tariff. We're not going to do it. No, we're going to do a tariff. We're going to do a tariff. Yeah. And then literally like the day before, basically like we're in Canada. For those of you that don't know, we're in Canada.
Yeah.
So for like fucking months, they're like, oh, they're going to do a 25% tariff, 25% tariff. It's happening for sure. So it's coming up. Very similar to the TikTok ban.
Oh my God.
It's like, oh my God, it's coming up. And then like the day before or something, they were like, oh no, we're going to pause the tariff. Yeah.
So it's paused for 30 days, which again is like so stupid. And it was paused because I guess Mexico and Canada like did some things that
to appease
Trump, this fucking psychomaniac. But it was funny because like he makes all these like blatant like crazy statements, and one of them I was watching a TikTok and they were kind of like debugging some of the stuff that he was saying.
Sure.
And one of the things that they said, which again I'm not saying that it's impossible, but you know, he's talking about how like the whole idea of a tariff is to like make it so that your goods can compete with like international like other places, because like for example, if you can produce something for like half the cost in like China, let's say, even after shipping it's like 50% less.
Sure.
Well, if you put a 50% tariff on it, then it's going to be the same price as local good, right? So you can start to be like competitive.
Sure.
The issue is a lot of places, they don't produce a lot of this stuff. You know what I mean? Like we're not set up to produce certain things. That's why it is produced in other countries. And one of the examples they use is how Trump was like, we have big oil reserves. We don't need Canada.
Oh, you're getting a little better at the Trump impressions.
I need to just watch some more videos of him talking. Yeah. But I also would rather shoot myself in the head. But he's saying about how they don't need our oil. That was one example. They're like, we don't need Canadian oil. We have enough oil in the U.S. And they do have, I think, a pretty relatively large reserve in the U.S.
Yeah.
The issue is, and what this person was going through in the documentary is, there's like in there's different types of oil out there. And there's like the type in Canada is like more, or at least where we are, it's like heavy crude or like really like dense.
I heard ours is quite unique.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's different.
Yeah, because ours are like the oil sands.
So
so it takes a certain type of extra things to produce, like refine it, whatever.
Like technology and materials and just it's a different like way of doing oil.
Exactly, of doing the oil thing.
Doing the oil thing.
Yeah. And like the issue is right now a lot of that is shipped down to the US to be refined, right? So they have a lot of these refineries that are set up specifically for this like heavy crude oil or whatever the fuck you call it. I don't know. Right. And the issue is now, it's not to say that these refineries couldn't shift to refine more of the US kind of type of oil. the issue is that's going to cost a shitload of money, you know? So like all of these things, like in practice or in theory is like, okay, great. We'll use more US oil because we want to be like more US focused. In reality, it's like, that's going to cost companies millions, if not billions. And then on the top of that, pardon me, it's going to end up costing consumers in the end.
Yeah. So it's like, you're right. So with tariffs, it would make sense for certain industries and certain situations. Like, we're not saying tariffs are bad in general.
Yeah.
Because maybe for certain industries, you're right. Like, maybe they want to, you know, bump up the local industry.
Yeah.
But to do a blanket tariff is like insane, especially when it comes to the economy, which Trump was promising was going to make it better. And he was going to bring down the cost of everything. That was one of the biggest reasons why people somehow believed that and voted for him.
It's crazy.
And then literally this is like his main focus is putting a tariff on immediately, which like at least in the short term is going to spike up the cost for everything.
Yeah.
Because you're right. It's like, yeah, like with oil, for example, like it's going to be a different type of oil, and certain countries make things just better,
more efficiently.
and it's more efficient, it's cheaper to make it there, and it just doesn't make sense to make it in the US or in Canada, so it's better to have it shipped.
Yeah.
Now if you have to make it in the USA, now you have to start building things and, you know, different manufacturing. Like, think about how much China manufactures shit.
Yeah.
It's like, imagine doing all of that in the United States. It's like, that's gonna bring up the cost.
Even think about this too, like even to think about like other things too, like all of these, every single company, even like fucking US companies, they take advantage of the fact that they can get things produced cheaper in other places. Like a perfect example is like a lot of call centers. So a lot of call centers are like in the Philippines, in India. So like, are you going to start bringing all of those in house? Like, are you going to start like, you know what I mean? Like,
right. Yeah.
Our this is the problem, is it's not necessarily a problem, but like our global economy is so intertwined on so many levels. Like it's crazy. And I seem to remember someone was telling me about like, you know, especially with Canada and the US, there might be like situations where like something is shipped from Canada to a US thing to like be manufactured and then shipped back to Canada. And then like, there's
mean in order to avoid tariffs?
No. Like, just
that's just how it is.
To build something.
Right. Because certain things like Canada might be doing it better there or whatever.
Exactly. And it's like, there's a lot of
so
back
intertwined.
and forth. Yeah. And it's like, it's just, anyway.
And like, I just think, and apparently Trump was saying something like, and I feel like this is such old news, even though it probably happened like last week, but you know, something new is happening every single second. But apparently Trump was saying something along the lines of he wants to bring back like some sort of policy back in like 19 whatever the fuck, where it was mostly tariffs and no income tax or something like this.
Right.
And like, maybe at the time, I don't know if it was working at the time, because you know Trump is just like full of just so much.
Yeah.
But like, let's say it was working at the time, but like, you can't compare the economy. Like, of course, there's some parallels you could probably, you know, make, but we have such a reliance on other countries now. We live in such a global economy now that it's such a different environment. And if you were to, let's say, try to get rid of income tax and tariff fucking everything, now the fucking cost of goods is gonna inevitably go up, because now you're putting a 25% tax on that, and now people are not gonna have money to spend, and it's just gonna like create all kinds of chaos.
Yeah.
Anyway, I guess he put a fucking stop on the Canadian tariff, but now he says
for 30 days. He says
for 30 days.
Yeah.
Which I'm sure he's just using this as like a negotiation tactic.
Of course, to put more pressure on us.
But it's so this whole thing. Anyway.
You know what's really irritating? It's because the US is such a global economic superpower that it just sucks, because like a lot of countries are so, especially like Canada, we're so deeply tied to the US.
I know. I hate that we're so close to the US and we're so tied to this, because ultimately it's like, it would be much better for us to just be like, I mean, it would be much better not have this situation.
Of course.
But if we could just be like, hey, let's just like align with China and fucking, you know, these other big superpowers.
Exactly.
Then we would have a much better situation, which might end up happening.
I know. I think honestly, like what Trump is doing, and of course we don't have a crystal ball. We don't know what's going to happen. But like my gut feeling is, and he's already starting to do this, is he's pissing off their trading partners, his other countries. Like Canadians were pissed off. Like, there was a hockey match, and apparently like the Canadians
they were booing
the national anthem, which again, you're starting to get people riled up. You're starting to like cause all these issues where countries such as Canada, and the thing is, the US is a superpower, but there are certain things it's like it needs certain products and resources that it can't all produce itself. And if we start turning around and being like, you know what, fuck you, but then we need to find enough.
I know. And like, I think the scary part is that because US is so fucking unhinged and Donald Trump is so unhinged, I'm like, and they have so much military power.
Yeah.
This is what I'm afraid of. It's like, okay, are they going to use a military force on any, like at this point, nothing is off the table.
Yeah.
At this point, I'm like, he's capable of doing anything. So I don't know. But anyway, the most recent update on this tariff situation is that apparently Donald Trump followed through on recent threats Monday evening and signed orders to impose 25% tariffs on all steel and aluminum imports, including from Canada. And he said it would be imposed without exceptions or exemptions. And then he said, this is the beginning of making America rich again.
But the funny thing is, he says, making America rich again. But who in America? The people that are already rich. That's who he's going to make more rich.
Yeah, and it says, if we make it in the United States, we don't need it to be made in Canada. We'll have the jobs. That's why Canada should be our 51st state. I can't with this fucking 51st state.
Rose, I'm telling you right now, if we become part of the United States,
I'm fucking leaving.
I'm going back to the UK.
Oh, goddamn, you be going back to the UK? Where I be going?
I got my passport. You just have to marry me and you can be my... you can get a spousal visa.
Oh, goddamn, Daniels.
That's what's going to happen.
I'm going to have to go back to Korea.
Damn.
Maybe I move to Mexico. I don't know.
Nothing's off the cards. It's just crazy. It's like every moment. And the thing that really irks me, and I was like talking to Rose about this earlier, is all these individuals that like voted for Trump, right? Like all the masses and whatever. It's like, what the fuck did you expect? Like, this is the person you guys agreed. You agreed, not unanimously, but like majoritively. That this person's going to run your country. And look what's happening.
Oh, I actually can't.
It's fucked.
So yeah, we'll see what happens to our economy. But now this has pushed this like kind of Canadian sort of pride. Yeah. Essentially. Canadians are kind of like...
Well, that's by just Canadian only products.
Yeah. Which is kind of hard to do. Yeah. But, or like not just not Canadian only, but like... American
avoid US products.
Yeah. So like you could buy stuff from like Mexico and shit, just like avoid fucking American ones. Yeah. So it's kind of that's like the new thing. Yeah. But yeah.
I wonder like this is what I always wonder, because like obviously we're talking about like kind of like such huge economies that it's hard to fathom all the trading and all the stuff that happens. I wonder if like Canada, Mexico, China, some of the US's like largest trading partners just decided to be like, you know what, fuck you. Yeah. And let's all try to find other partners, trade with each other.
That's what we should do.
Cut the US out. But then I'm wondering, overall, obviously, it would be a crazy impact to our economy at first, right? But I'm wondering if we would be better off in the long run.
I think so. I mean?
Like, would we still get enough business from other places that we would be able to basically replace what we have with the U.S.?
Oh, I know.
That's what I'm wondering. Like, I'm like, don't get me wrong. Like, I think it's a great idea to be. They always say diversification's key, even with investments. You should never have one large customer. You should always have like a big base, whatever, right?
Sure.
So I guess like with all of this, it's always good to diversify, always good to like have other trading partners. I just wonder if, because the US economy is so big, I'm wondering like, even if we stop trading with them completely, let's say like for random figures, let's say we trade $500 billion with them, which is probably more than that, but let's just say 500 billion. Well, if we trade with China, we can get 100 billion from them. Europe, maybe 200 billion, but maybe we still have a gap, you know?
I think there would be, because just because of the geographic. So there's a few different factors. There's the geographic factor. It's like we're right there. Yeah. You know, we're like we share a border. It's easier to transport stuff. Yeah. You know, that just makes sense. And then there's obviously the factor of like literally America is like 10 times the Canadian population. Yeah. So just that alone is like, you know, this is literally 10 times our market. Yeah. So, so I think it would make an impact. Like I wish it would be like easy. Yeah. Like for example, you know, even like for steel and aluminum, like how that would probably be very difficult to trade with other partners because we're just so far away from everybody
True.
else.
Like, I mean, it would be
like you'd have to ship that shit. It would
cost more.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know.
God damn, it's just so crazy because it's putting so much uncertainty, and actually this is like spilling over into the markets as well, because there's actually I've heard rumors that people are really concerned about the stock market and how they're like thinking that it's gonna have like some kind of crash.
Yeah, this is what I've been hearing, that there's like we're in this like bubble.
Yeah,
but I've also been hearing this for some time.
Yeah,
and
we're always in these weird bubbles, and they never seem to pop.
Okay, maybe I'm crazy, but I feel like because most people that are invested in the stock market are rich people, right?
Yeah.
Like they're not, like if you are poor, which is like a lot of people right now, you're not going to put extra money into a fucking investment. You don't even have extra money.
No.
So because so many people, billionaires included, are like so invested in the stock market, this is what I heard. I don't know how much truth there's to this, but it's like they will do whatever to like make it not burst. Like make sure that it's like, you know, even if it's like fucking, I mean, the stock market's like just a game, right? It's just a gamble. So the people that are in power will probably just like continuously make sure that it's not gonna crash.
Yeah.
But I also have heard that a lot of these rich people, like Warren Buffett, for example, who's like a fucking one of the billionaires, one of the world's richest men, he apparently is like selling a bunch of stocks. Like just some people are dumping a lot of stocks. So some people are predicting that because a lot of billionaires are doing this,
that's what's gonna be.
It's gonna crash. Who the fuck knows?
It just kind of sucks, because if you think about it too, like it is generally a lot of like wealthy people, but also like a lot of people's companies that they work for example, they put their pensions into like these pension funds essentially, right? And like my pension, for example, is in a bunch of different funds, and like if the market crashes, I could lose my whole pension. Yeah, totally.
So
like it's
and
kind
like
of
like regular people as well. Yeah, not just ultra rich people.
Yeah,
but
it's all crazy. It's all linked. And the worst part is though, when that happens, it's like the people that, you know, and this is what happened with the financial crash, right? A lot of people had their investments or their pensions wiped out completely. Like imagine you've been saving, you're 60 years old.
Yeah.
You have like over $1 million in your retirement fund, ready to retire, and it just goes to zero.
I honestly,
like, what would you do?
I don't fucking know. Like, what are you supposed to do in that situation?
This is why I always think it's good to have some money just in cash. Like, in terms of like have it in like a, like everyone's like, oh, you should have most of it invested, blah, 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 blah. But I'm like, I don't know. I think that there's a balance, right?
I think so. Yes. I think there's a balance. You're right. Exactly. Because I was like, when I was hearing about all this, like, oh, is the economy going to crash? I'm like, should I fucking take out my investments or whatever? But then at the same time, so there's a few factors, right? Some people say that if you're young, then keeping it in there is a good idea.
Right.
Because then eventually it'll go up.
Yeah.
That's the fucking theory, okay?
Yeah.
So eventually, even if it crashes, it'll still go up. And some people are like, no, you just buy extra when it's down. And I'm like, fucking hell. Just all just a fucking game.
It is.
Okay? And then, so that's a factor. So if you're old, then maybe you want to take it out if it's kind of getting, you know, you don't have much years left. You're like, okay, you know what? I'm okay with this much cash.
It's kind of wild though, because when you think about the grand scheme of things, guys, in reality, the stock market and how you were saying, oh, like it always goes up, because that's what we've been told,
that's
right?
The theory.
Right. The theory is eventually, even if it goes down, eventually it will catch back up and go up more. So, and that's
will it?
And exactly. And that's the trend that's been followed. But if you think about it, like the stock market and investing and all of this stuff has only been around like as we see it now, where we're buying shares of companies.
Yeah, for like what? Not even a century?
Not that long.
Yeah, not that long.
Like
maybe a century.
A lot of companies, like I was like looking up some of these. A lot of companies didn't even list on the stock exchange until like 2000 or 2010. Like it's kind of crazy when you start to think about it. You're like, we don't actually have 600 years of data to go on.
And it's all just made up shit.
I know. This is another thing too.
I just feel like it's all just like a game.
It is, because if you think about it, like
what's real? Nothing's real.
I know that they say the fundamentals are the company, right? But then you see the share price of the company, and every day it's like fluctuating.
Yeah,
fucking
Elon says something
skyrocketing.
stupid, and then the Tesla stock goes down. It's like how does that, like, what, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah. It's kind of like, it is a really crazy game.
It's just a fucking game.
Yeah.
Like, the older I get, the more I realize, like, we just made all this up, you know? Like, everything's just made up. We've just made it all up.
The theory of it, though, makes sense, like, that it would be valued based on the company, right? There's all these valuation techniques and blah, 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 blah. Like, I took finance. If you did business finance, like, oh, this is how you value the company and figure out the whatever, right? But ultimately, it's like that model is like the idealistic. But what happens in the reality is like you have people trading on feelings, you have people doing all this other stuff,
and then if too many people buy or sell, that impacts
the price.
But then that has nothing to do with the actual company.
The value of that company.
But values are all made up too, right?
Yeah, it's crazy.
I think about the value of a diamond. Like, you know, the reason why diamonds are so expensive is not because it's actually, like, apparently there's a lot of diamonds, but they don't release that many diamonds.
Yeah.
And therefore, diamonds are fucking expensive. But really, if they release them all, then the value would go down. But it's like, how does that make any sense? The actual diamond doesn't change, but because there's more out there, people think it's not worth as much.
Yeah.
So it's all made up.
It's
not actually based on like physical, you know, tangible thing, you know?
Everything's crazy. It's like those purses. You know, people buy those purses and they're like,
Purses.
it's an investment and it goes up like 2 years later.
Exactly. Why is it going up? Why? Because people just feel like it goes up.
Yep.
Like, it's crazy. This whole thing
damn.
is crazy.
We're in a weird like alternate game.
Yes.
Like some
I'm
kind
like,
of game.
is this a fucking simulation?
Yeah, but it's like, you know, talking about bubbles before we move on to the next story.
Yeah.
But talking about these like bubbles, like the stock market bubble, they keep saying, like, other than the stock market crash that happened in 2008, well, and there was the tech bubble and all this stuff, but overall it's like we haven't really seen too many bubbles burst, if you know what I mean. Like, one perfect example is like the Canadian real estate market.
Okay.
For years people have been like, oh, it's overvalued, it's too expensive, blah 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 blah, like this it should be corrected and there should be a market correction and like prices will go down like 3%.
Yeah, it's never gonna like drastically
It's
drop.
never gonna bounce like down. Like, it's never gonna like all of a sudden 50% of the houses, like a house is worth 50%.
Yeah, while we still have a housing crisis.
Yeah.
So yeah, do you think my theory stands then? Because so many people that are rich have investments in housing.
Oh, 100%. And not just the rich people, Rose.
But like regular people too.
But no. But also, I'm thinking, like, if you think about it, all of the banks, right? Like, think about all of your TDs, all your big banks in Canada. Half of them, or not half of them, all of them have massive amounts of exposure to real estate.
Yeah.
Because they have all these mortgages, right?
Right.
And the banks don't want the value of the house, because if the house market crashes and people start trying to like sell their house because it's worth less than their mortgage and all this shit happens, the banks are going to lose money.
Yeah.
And they don't want to lose money.
Yeah, that's
so
true.
So they don't also, like, it's in the interest of a lot of these big corporations and everything
keep
it artificially inflated, basically.
Exactly.
It's not really following supply and demand per se. Because like
not at all.
No, Toronto's a perfect example. I saw this in a headline recently too. Toronto has like, oh yeah, this guy was. This was also on TikTok. It wasn't an article, but this guy was like talking about Toronto market. He's like, yeah, you know, and he talked about how the rental prices have come down a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was like, yeah, this one bedroom would have been like $2,800, and now it's $2,700. It's dropped $100, and everyone in the comments is like,
$100
dropped $100. It needs to drop like a lot more.
Yeah, exactly.
And he was saying about how Toronto, it's not following the proper supply and demand because there are a lot more rental units getting out there, and the rent is not being adjusted accordingly.
Yeah, because people don't want to drop the rent.
Exactly, they don't want to lose money.
Exactly.
And so you're in this weird, but eventually
you're gonna have to
give. Exactly.
Yeah, something's gonna give.
It's like they were talking about the condos as well, and how there's a lot of the condo market in Toronto is investors, right?
Yeah.
And because they have all of these units now, and some people are trying to sell them and do whatever, and the cost of what they're getting back, the prices are dropping a little bit.
Yeah.
All this shit's happening, but nobody's willing to like make any compromise. Not compromise. They're not willing to adjust things because they don't want to lose money, because, you know, real estate is always a good investment.
Yeah, they've been told that real estate is always a good investment.
And it's like, sorry guys, it also comes with risks.
Exactly. If there's not enough people renting and there's nobody that wants to buy at that price, you're gonna have to either bring the price down of the rent or bring the price down of the fucking property.
They were saying, I can't remember what it was, like 68% or something of the condos in Toronto are owned by investors. And
see, that's fucking like
disgusting.
That's fucked.
Yeah, and because the major part of the market is investors right now in Toronto, because the prices
so no one's living there.
Exactly. Well, and that's why they're putting them for
Right.
rent now. But if you're thinking about for sale, it's like, because their interest rates have gone up, condo prices have gone up, rent's starting to go down, like nobody as an investor wants to buy these condos anymore.
Sure.
So now
there's no one buying.
There's no one buying. And none of the sellers are willing to drop their price.
Yeah.
Or they're
then
dropping
that
it
leaves
slightly.
This like weird situation.
It's fucked. Anyway,
next Trump story.
Oh,
because it's never ending. Well, first of all, there was a big fucking airplane crash that happened. Did you hear about this?
I did, yes.
In DC, apparently. So I think like a helicopter and like a fucking plane
Like, hit each other.
Yeah. And so a lot of people fucking died. It was a horrible situation.
Yeah.
And we are having, like, we've discussed this, like, I feel like every week there's a new crash to talk about.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons we talked about this like for the last couple of years. I feel like it's been going up, these airplane issues. One of them was like how Boeing was doing all this shady ass shit
Because they don't want to follow safety regulations. Exactly. They want to make more money.
And now we've put a psychopath in the office who's not going to adhere to any safety precautions because it's true.
Yeah.
So what happened was so let me tell you what he said first. So first of all, after this plane crash happened, which feels like fucking 3 weeks ago, even though this was like a few days ago.
Yeah.
He stood before the White House press room and he said that basically the country was in mourning, sharing his condolences during an hour of anguish, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And then he sharply pivoted, providing yet another reminder of how his new presidency is going to be very different.
Oh, God.
It will be combative. It will be unscripted. It will be quick to the point. It will be quick to point the finger of blame. So this literally just happened, right? So let me just put that out there.
Yeah.
So the plane just fucking crashed. People are dead. People are mourning. And he says, we do not know what led to this crash, but we have some very strong opinions and ideas. This is the president saying this to the country without any evidence. Then he speculated, without giving any evidence, that lowered standards for hiring for air traffic controllers in the Federal Aviation Administration during the Joe Biden and Barack Obama presidencies may have been a factor in the disaster. AKA, he's blaming once again
This is so
DEI.
damaging. This is so fucking damaging because he has no concrete evidence for this.
Yep. So he and his fellow Republicans have regularly attacked the DEI, which is diversity, equity, and inclusions programs in the federal government. And
his team have made undoing such programs a core part of their first days in office.
Yeah. And less than 24 hours after. So first of all, some people have pointed out that during the entire Biden administration, they haven't had a U.S. air disaster, right? So it says less than 24 hours after the first major U.S. disaster in more than a decade.
Yeah.
So if it was DEI that Barack Obama and Biden were responsible for, by the way, he was president after Barack Obama. So why didn't you do anything about that then?
Yeah.
Because you didn't fucking change a thing then. And nothing happened for over a decade.
Yep.
And then the fucking thing happens after less than 24 hours. Anyway, this fucking thing happens after a decade. And he's going to immediately blame DEI. Now, let's just say here, just last week, so a week before the airplane disaster, Trump fired the heads of the Transportation Security Administration, which is TSA, and the Coast Guard, and disbanded the Aviation Security Advisory Committee. And the Associated Press reported on January 21st that Trump fired those heads and removed all members of the committee. So the people that are responsible for security, for airline, safety, he fired a bunch of them. On his second day, he fired the head of the Transportation Security Administration, fired the entire Aviation Security Advisory Committee, and froze hiring of all air traffic controllers. Okay, and fired 100 top FAA, which is the federal, Federal Advisory. Wait, what's FAA? FAA is something to do with the flights and whatever.
Yeah.
So, if FAA security officers. So he came in and he was like, see ya to all of these people that are, kind of in charge of your safety and TSA and all of these things. And then
so everyone that's left behind is going to be overworked. There's not going to be enough people. So quality is going to naturally go down.
And I heard that like the majority of these what are they even called? Like airports and stuff.
Yeah.
They have not enough air traffic controllers.
Yeah.
So there's just not enough people doing the air traffic controlling. And he's just getting rid of all these people. And then he's like, oh, like
that had nothing to do with it.
That had nothing to do with it.
It was from Obama.
It's because we hired
Biden.
people that were women.
Yes.
Like that's what it is.
It's crazy. It's just nuts. That because you would think like doing something like this, there would be like a cause. What is it? Cause and effect. And naturally, if you're going to have less people working to do like safety and all kinds of like air traffic control and everything, and people are overworked and like having to deal with more situations, it's going to be a less safe situation.
Yep.
So
yeah, he's concerned more about DEI and actually like hiring people that are, you know, a diverse workforce. He's more he's more concerned about that than actually having like enough people doing these jobs.
Yeah.
And like, I hate this talking point of, oh, DEI, it's like not safe, blah, 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 because we're hiring women and people that are like this. It's like, do you think people just pick people off the street?
Yeah.
And say like, hey, you be a pilot. Like, they're all qualified people.
Exactly.
Like, what are you even saying? Oh my God, I actually cannot. Like,
it's actually
I'm
You're
about
right,
to lose
like,
my mind.
Because DEI is not like, oh, you know what, Rose, we're gonna hire you so we meet our DEI quota, whether or not you applied for the job, whether you're not qualified. That's not the case. It's when you look at the list of applicants, right? And then if they have to be qualified to do the job in the first place.
Oh, exactly. And someone said all the pilots and the air traffic controllers involved in the January 29th crash would by definition have undergone the required training requirements and met the standards to be at that job.
Exactly.
Like, what do you mean it was DEI? Like, what are you like? This is the president of the United States.
They're so fast to like blame that though, because there's another thing with the LA fires. Do you remember that?
They blame DEI.
Yeah, they're like, oh, it's because of DEI.
It's a lesbian firefighter.
Because it's a lesbian firefighter. It's like, do you not think that just because she's a lesbian firefighter, she did not have to go through the rigorous training,
exactly,
the protocols, the consistent.
Well, some of these people think that like women or like, I guess minorities just can't do this job.
Yeah.
Like.
That's a very like.
That's so insane. Do you know that there are like, you know, because I think someone like that worked for the White House was saying something like, you know, like, I don't think people are praying that they'll land safely. They're just praying that their pilot is not a black person or something like that. Something crazy.
Yeah.
They said something insane, and I was like, what? Like, nobody is thinking that but you. Like, I've never thought to myself, I hope the pilot is a white man.
This is just so damaging. Like, this is like every day I get more and more scared and like more and more just like, what the fuck? We're heading. I know. We're actually
Doom and Gloom podcast has become worse.
It has. And I feel like, guys, Trump is catapulting the United States to become a state of Gilead.
It's honestly
like literally
kind of terrifying.
It's fucked.
I don't know if I should be more scared because like I feel like we're facing so many threats because of like the tariffs and fucking he wants to annex Canada.
What's going to happen with our economy as well?
Exactly. Like I am actually concerned.
Yeah.
Whereas before it was more like we were just looking at America being like, what the fuck is going on?
Like an explosion where the shrapnel wouldn't hit us.
Yeah, exactly.
Whereas
but now
we're in the crossfire. Yeah. We are in the crossfire in those fucking trenches.
Yeah. But I wonder if we're more concerned or like Americans are more concerned.
Who knows?
I mean, maybe we're all just fucking concerned. So another thing. So this is one thing.
Well, this was going to be my question though too. Like, I wonder if like, has there ever been, and I don't know this, guys, because like I don't know too much about like American history and stuff, but like, has there ever been a situation where somebody like a president is like unhinged like Trump and doing all this crazy shit, and finally like the citizens are like, actually we should just get him out of office. Like, this is not a good thing.
I don't know. I feel like they're not very good at impeaching presidents. Yeah. Like, I remember they tried to impeach Bill Clinton because he had an affair.
Right. Oh my God.
Let me see. Have any U.S.
presidents,
like, they're not very good at like, maybe because it's such a big country, maybe because it's so divided, maybe because it's just so fucking large and people just can't I was thinking about this. One of the things that I think, because I'm like, like we need a revolution. We need to fucking go to the streets. But I'm like, also that's not very hopeful because like, I feel like U.S. is so big. It's so politically divided. Hugely.
And more so now than ever.
And it's so just like we always talk about, like, it's so geographically just spread that I think that makes an impact. Like, it's harder for people to congregate. It's harder for people to gather. Yeah. It's harder for people to like see other people. And this creates divides, like more divides. Yeah. So like, you know, you end up you know, for example, if you're living in, I don't know, fucking Houston, it's like you'd be living in a certain community where you see a certain type of people that are in your social class, and you only interact with people within that class. You only go to the restaurants that, you know, so you don't really like see others, interact with others, and that creates more of like a diverse and like more, I don't want to say educated, but you know, like it's just always better to mingle with other people. And there's no mingling. It's like there's very little mingling. So I don't know if there's gonna be a revolution. Let's see here. Impeached. There we go. So only 2 people. Oh no, he didn't. Oh, I guess Bill Clinton was impeached. What is that? Oh wait, wasn't Donald Trump impeached? But I guess impeachment just means like they were impeached, but that doesn't mean that they're impeached.
I don't know. I just
what the fuck is the point of impeachment? Because I guess
know.
they did impeach Bill Clinton, and I remember like Donald Trump got impeached. Do you remember this? We talked about this. Like he was like impeached.
Kind of, but I feel like it's just like meaningless. I'm meaning
Yeah,
more
well,
like
apparently it's meaningless.
when they remove somebody. Like
Yeah,
they're like, you
I
need
guess
to no longer be our
because
president.
I just listed 3, and 2 of them definitely didn't get like removed from office.
Yeah.
I don't fucking know.
Yeah.
I don't know, because like even during like Bush administration, like George W. Bush, and how everyone found out about the Iraq war, like at the end of his presidency, he was like extremely unpopular.
Yeah.
And I think people eventually, not in the beginning, but eventually they found out he lied about the Iraq war. There were no weapons of mass destruction. He just wanted the fucking oil, and like he just wanted to start a war. Even then, he didn't get impeached. There's no fucking outrage.
This is true.
Even the people still fucking support him.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy. Like, I just don't know if it's possible in the U.S. In Korea, they'll get impeached over a weekend.
Yeah, they will. Yeah, they will.
2 weeks later, they'll get impeached.
Yeah.
Anyways, so I don't know. Something about, like, I don't know.
I know it's weird. It's
weird.
It's
It's very strange. But there have been protests. Like, I have seen that there were protests in the United States.
Yeah.
But it's such a, like, in Korea, it's a small country. People can gather. It's easier. Like, I don't know. I feel like that has something to do with it. Anyway, next Trump story.
Oh God. It just keeps getting better.
So Trump got, he sat next to the other psychopath, Benjamin Netanyahu, who's the prime minister of Israel.
Oh my God.
They sat together.
Another one of my favorite people.
Fucking smiling, looking insane and psychopathic as usual.
Yeah.
And basically Trump is saying something like, he said something along the lines of, oh, we're going to make Gaza this like amazing place where we can build a hotel. Like basically he's saying he's going to turn Gaza into like this beautiful like resort kind of, beautiful space. And we're going to fix all the rubble. Right now you can't even live there because there's all this rubble. And I'm like, yeah, you're sitting next to the guy that caused it.
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about? And then he basically made it seem as though, okay, yeah, like the Gazans need to leave, like Palestinians need to leave, because like why would you want to live there? It's all rubble now.
Oh my God, it's
crazy. Like you fucking create this disaster situation, and then you kind of force them out, and then you're like making it seem as though you're doing them a favor by turning this into a much more developed area.
Sounds like this is the trend with the Trump politics. It seems like create a disaster.
Yeah.
Or maybe not fully, but create some kind of like ruckus, and then come in as this
hero and take all the credit.
Yeah.
So there were some people that didn't want to vote for Kamala Harris because how she was like part of the Biden administration.
Yeah.
And they didn't like their Gaza strategy, which I totally understand. But I've been saying, and a lot of people have been saying, Trump is going to be way worse, and he's finally showing it. Not finally. It's been not even a month since he's been in office.
It hasn't been a month yet, Rose. How fucking depressed. What more can happen, guys? What more is gonna happen?
Wait, when did he come into office? The 16th?
The 21st, I think. Isn't that the inauguration day?
I don't remember.
It's like January 21st, I want to say.
I don't remember. Anyway.
Let's see a calendar. I think it's the 21st.
Do we want to know? Okay.
Monday. Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
January
so I
20th.
guess it was 20th.
Yeah. It's always that Monday, though. I feel like.
So he said, his plan is to take over Gaza. His plan to take over Gaza would not include a right of return for more than 2 million Palestinians that he has said to have no alternative but to leave because of the destruction left by Israel's military campaign. This is the thing. It's like, again, Israel fucking bombed the shit out of it using U.S. weapons.
Yeah.
And then Palestinians are like fucking, their houses are ruined. Everything's ruined.
Yeah.
So now they're kind of like forced to leave, but I think a lot of Palestinians are like, fuck this, we're staying.
Yeah.
Because they know that's the plan. But now Trump is saying, no, you're going to have to fucking leave, which is called ethnic cleansing.
Yes.
So,
where are 2 million people going to go?
Exactly.
Like, that's a fucking shitload of people.
Yeah.
Like, where are they going to go?
I don't think he cares.
No.
He's saying, he said in an interview that he would own the Gaza Strip and declared it would be a real estate development for the future. How psychopathic do you have to be? Like, it's honestly so insanely psychopathic. And he continued to endorse a plan for the Palestinians. Okay, this is what he wants. Palestinians to be resettled in Egypt and Jordan, a plan that both countries have rejected. And the region's largest Arab states have declared it's a non-starter. So he would build up to 6 new sites for Palestinians to live outside Gaza. In effect, permanent refuge camps unwritten by the U.S. president. So basically saying, you got to leave Gaza, but let me make some fucking...
We'll put up a tent for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. You have to leave your home that's
disgusting.
been bombed, and now... But don't worry. We'll put up a little tent for you in the desert.
I just don't like... This is like, these people are worse than like serial killers, like genuinely.
Oh, yeah. They're just
I'm like, you're killing millions of people.
Yeah.
You are thinking about this as a real estate fucking opportunity.
Capitalism at key. Remember, this guy is and has been, he's been operating all these businesses. You know, he's a multi, I think he's a billionaire, actually.
I think he must be a billionaire now.
And probably from his coin as well, as the fucking coin that he did, where he made like fucking, I don't know how much money, which is ridiculous, which presidents should not be allowed to do that. Like, they should not be, you know, anyway, that's besides the point. But like, this guy, all he cares about also is money. Like, that's why I think it's so ironic that all of these like disadvantaged, maybe underrepresented government feel like somebody like a Trump or like a very conservative or a very Republican government is going to do anything that's going to help.
Oh, you
them.
mean the people?
Yeah.
The
people that voted like that, because
I know, I don't understand the mentality. I really try to.
But I think, and this is going to sound terrible, guys, but like, I think a big part of it is maybe a lack of like education.
No, definitely.
Yeah. Because they think to themselves like, oh, you know, I'm struggling, because people are very insular, right? It's like, what's going on in your life? And they think, well, I'm struggling. I can't pay my bills. I have shitty job opportunities. Yes. I have X, Y, Z. And instead of taking a step back and being like, okay, what is going to help with this situation? Do you think somebody that supports the corporations and supports the billionaires and wants all that, are they going to do anything or put in place policies that are going to protect me, that are going to help me, that are going to do anything that's going to assist me in some way, shape, or form? And for some reason, they just don't make that connection, and they're like, he's going to make a change.
I think a lot of people, most people, they don't pay that much attention to politics, first of all. So I think that what happens is, and like, to me, like, trust me, it still baffles me to this day that like, this is a phenomenon that happens across the globe. It's not just in the US. It
happens all the time.
It happens everywhere. Like, people that, you know, are not living in fucking luxury will vote for the billionaire that's not going to do anything for them.
Yeah.
But I think, most people are just like not very well educated in politics in general.
Yeah.
So they think, first of all, maybe they saw a government and they weren't happy with their cost of living. So they're thinking, oh, it's the government's fault.
Yeah.
So let me vote for the other government. That's one option. Another option is, okay, he's successful. They look up to him as a person. They think, oh, he's a millionaire, even though he's a fucking Nepo baby.
Yeah.
And he's failed like a million businesses and he was bankrupt a few times, all this shit. But, you know, I'm going to look up to him because maybe they think of him as success. Like, I don't get it either, but like, it happens everywhere, and it's the most frustrating thing ever.
Yeah, it is crazy, because if you think about it, like, if you're electing individuals, I'm not saying that this is always true, right? But if you're electing individuals that are, you know, supremely wealthy, you know, like billionaire status, like, we're talking like different levels of wealth. Like, we're not talking, oh, they have one investment property. It's like fucking so much money. Do you think that they're ever going to endorse any kind of policy that is going to disadvantage individuals that are like them? No. Like, because then honestly, it's going to disadvantage themselves. So like, ultimately, it's better to have somebody that's like, this is just my opinion, because I'm more like working class, right?
Yeah.
It's to have somebody that's working class, because all the policies selfishly that they'll put in place or endorse are also going to help them, which is going to help the majority, versus, you know, and naturally, like, a lot of people, like, in general, we're selfish by nature. We're not going to like, I'm not going to be a billionaire sitting there being like, we should actually tax the billionaires more, because then that's going to impact me negatively. Like, why would I ever endorse that policy?
This is why I don't understand how people vote for this.
I know, it's crazy. It's crazy.
And how you think like this is going to better your life. Like, I actually don't get it. Like, I don't understand. I don't get it. I don't get it.
People never cease to amaze me.
Yeah. Okay, so this story is crazy.
Okay.
Finally, we're out of the Trump situation.
Get me out of that Trump hole.
You know, at least he's giving us content. Let me.
That's very true.
But I'm so sick of talking about Trump. It's not even funny. I think there was like also in the last, like, wasn't there a time when we were like, let's stop talking about Trump?
Yes.
Like, it's getting out of control here.
Well, it was his last. Wasn't his last time
I
we were
think
always
so.
talking about him? It was like
when we
fuck.
first, I think when we first began the podcast, because he was still president.
He was.
Oh God. So, this story is crazy. Women enslaved in Georgia for human egg. Now, I don't know if this is Georgia, like the state
or the
country. So we'll find out.
Okay.
For human egg harvesting by Chinese gangsters.
This sounds terrible.
This story's crazy. So basically, a human egg harvesting racket where around 100 women were kept as slaves has been unearthed in the former. So it's in Georgia, which is the nation.
Yeah.
So 100 slave women were basically kept as human egg slaves.
Oh my God.
Operated by Chinese gangsters. That was this was exposed after 3 Thai women were freed from the egg mafia by a Thailand-based NGO. So this is one of the craziest stories I've heard. So, and the thing is, like, it's like how much of it is going on?
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of things that happen that we don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So, as per the victim, Thais were still. So, I think they all got freed eventually. But basically, Thai women were trapped at the human egg farm, and basically, I guess this person that was released paid for their freedom, but these other women, they don't have enough money or couldn't pay for their freedom. And most of the women were lured in by a job offer on Facebook, promising them a salary of between 11,000 euros to 17,000 euros if they worked as surrogates for Georgian couples who were unable to have children. This is giving fucking Handmaid's Tale.
Oh my God, they are
handmaids. They are the fucking handmaids.
They are the handmaids.
They are the handmaids.
Oh my God. Oh, this is so fucked.
So the organization advertising the jobs took care of the passports and visas of the victims, but once the women landed in the Eastern European country, they were quickly shepherded into 4 large properties with around 100 other women. And then they soon found out the job offer was a sham, and they've been dragged into something far more sinister.
So originally they signed up and were like, look, I'll give birth to a child for a couple. It will be nice. I'll go live with a couple and maybe earn, 17,000 euros.
Probably not living with a couple, but having their baby.
Yeah. And maybe I get put up in a little apartment.
Yeah.
And I can have a nice little life for a little bit.
And then that's probably how they found out that they were fertile and stuff.
Exactly. And then...
Oh God. So, one of the victims revealed that they were pumped with hormone. This is a literal, this is what they do to chickens, by the way, hens that lay eggs. But obviously the hens, it's even worse.
Yeah.
But, one of the victims revealed that they were pumped with hormones to stimulate their ovaries and were forced to have their eggs removed once a month. So it's a literal, a literal egg farm. The women would be injected to get treatment. I can never say this word.
Anesthetized.
So given anesthesia, and their eggs would be extracted with a machine. With a machine!
Oh God.
Oh my God. So the collected eggs were believed to be sold and trafficked in other countries for use in vitro fertilization.
This is actually so fucked.
Horrifying. So yeah. Luckily, they were released, I believe. Yeah. But question is,
how many more of these places exist?
Yeah.
But it's, you know what though, honestly, this story disgusts me, but I'll be honest, it doesn't surprise me. Yeah. And the reason I say that is because I watched I've seen some pretty dark documentaries. A lot of it, not so much about this. This is the first time I've ever heard of human egg farming.
Yeah.
But sex trafficking, all that sort of thing. Yeah. And the amount of it that goes on in the world would shock you.
Yeah. It's a huge industry.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So, yeah, they're finally, I think they were released. Mm-hmm. But,
that's crazy. And it's so sad because you know what the sad thing is people that are doing this, they're desperate, right?
Yeah.
Like we can't even imagine. Like they're probably like not even able to buy food or do anything, and they're like, or maybe they're like they can, but it's like a really
they're struggling, and
yeah.
they're like, oh, it's a great opportunity. Like 11,000 euros, that's a lot of money for Thai people.
Exactly. They're like, great, I'll go there, and then maybe I can come back and like get a little apartment for myself, and like start moving up and not be so stressed.
That's so fucking crazy.
And then you're like kept
as like a slave, as like a fucking like egg laying fucking
oh my god
slave.
oh it's awful. This is Handmaid's Tale. I tell you, like Gilead, like it's a
Gilead situation.
Oh my god. Oh,
all right, guys. God, I wish I had better stories.
Last story, guys.
There is no happy stories. There are no happy stories.
What's going on in the world?
So this was kind of crazy because like my mom was literally talking to me about Sweden like the day before this happened.
Yeah.
And she was saying how there's like been a lot of gun violence in Sweden, which I did not know about.
Yeah,
and I didn't expect, because Sweden is known as this like utopian fucking place, which I have heard though in the last few years it hasn't been utopia.
Yeah.
But so this huge story happened a few days ago. Basically, there was a mass shooting, the world's worst mass shooting in Swedish history.
Fuck.
About 10 people were killed at an adult education center.
There's always at education places.
I know.
It? Schools, universities.
I know.
Because I mean, you're guaranteed there's gonna be a lot of people
exactly,
there.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they're all like kind of together.
Yeah.
So yeah, this was the shooter was dead as well, I believe. Basically 10 people died in Sweden.
Yeah.
Most victims in Swedish mass shooting had immigrant background. So I guess most of the people killed by the gunman, I don't know who the gunman is, but the most people killed by the gunman had an immigrant background. And basically, so yeah, some of the people that were killed were 2 Syrian men, both refugees, an Iranian woman, blah, blah, blah. And yeah, I don't know the motive behind this. Yeah. Oh, the identity of the gunman is Richard. Well, I don't know if they have confirmed the identity, which is Richard Anderson, 35, and he is believed to have killed himself as well. And
God, he's a year younger than us.
God, 35. Why?
Like
what possesses people to do this?
That's what I don't understand. It's like, live your life, enjoy your life. Don't like, what the fuck are you doing?
If you're gonna kill yourself, just fucking kill yourself. Don't kill other people. What is wrong with you?
Exactly. Oh my God. It's weird. I wonder why there's this like rise or so much stuff going on in Sweden in terms of like, if somebody knows or has an idea, like
I'm sure it's a complicated issue.
Yeah.
But apparently it's just like not, it's not the best right now.
Well, I think it's like, to be honest with you, it's not the best globally right now.
Exactly. So
like
that could be
everywhere is kind of fucked right now. Like in terms of cost of living, I'm sure Sweden is not, what's it called?
Yeah.
Isolated from this or everything that's going on. Because again, we're global economies. So it's like we're all of these like countries are so fucked right now.
And on that positive
note, guys,
this is fucking depressing.
Oh God.
Maybe we need to like sprinkle in some happier episodes.
I think we do, because I'm like actually feeling quite sad.
Oh God.
And like feeling hopeless.
Oh God.
And feeling like I might take a long walk off a short pier somewhere.
Stop. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's just,
I don't know.
It's
so, I don't know what to like make of this, because I think we're at this point where it's like there's no, I don't want to say there's no hope, but it's like there kind of is, because at least when like maybe our parents were growing up, there was hope for like a better future, right? It's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna work hard, I'm gonna succeed, and like, for the most part it happened for a lot of people. They worked hard, they got educated, they became successful. Now it's like there's none of that. Like that is not like something that people feel is a reality.
Oh God. Anyway,
guys, we need happier thoughts.
We need happier thoughts. If you're not already, follow us on YouTube.
Yes.
Show us some love in the comment section. Give this video a thumbs up. And
join the YouTube memberships.
Yeah, join YouTube memberships. Or if you would prefer, a Patreon, you get exclusive content, you get all ad-free content, and you get content a week before everybody else.
Yes.
And then also, if you're listening to us on your favorite podcast platform, don't forget to hit that follow. You get updated as soon as new episodes go live.
Yeah, guys, thank you so much for listening. And hopefully we didn't make you too sad.
Oh, God.
We'll talk to you guys very soon. Bye.
Bye.